welcome back to the Snow Queen. We're about to read the 5th story, Little Robber Girl. Little Robber Girl? I wonder if Gerda turns into a robber. We shall see. The coach drove on through a thick forest where it lighted up the way like a torch and dazzled the eyes of some robbers, who could not bear to let it pass them unmolested. "It is gold! It is gold!" cried they, rushing forward and seizing the horses. Then they struck the little jockeys, the coachman, and the footmen dead, and pulled little Gerda out of the carriage. "She is fat and pretty, and she's been fed with a kernel of nuts," said an old robber woman. That sounds suspicious, like cannibalism. Who had a long beard and her eyebrows that hung over her eyes. Well, how do they know she was a robber woman then? "She is as good as a little lamb. How nice will she taste?" Oh my gosh, she's a cannibal. I wasn't expecting cannibalism in the Snow Queen. I'm not gonna lie. "She is as good as a little lamb, and how nice she will taste." And as she said this, she drew forth a shining knife that glittered horribly. Cannibalism, honestly, oh my gosh. "Oh!" screamed the old woman the same moment, for her own daughter, who had held her back, had bitten her in the ear. So cannibalism runs in the family. She was a wild and naughty girl, and her mother called her an ugly thing, and had not time to kill Gerda. "She shall play with me," said the little robber girl. "She shall give me her muff and her pretty dress, and sleep with me in my bed." And then she bit her mother again, and made her spring in the air and jump about. And all the robbers laughed and said, "See how she is dancing with her young cub." No, I'm pretty sure she is attacking her mother and not dancing. Secondly, there is another word for muff, okay? And that's how I read it as. And then I realized earmuffs. Better than I thought. "I will have a ride in the coach," said the little robber girl, and she would have her own way, for she was so self-willed and obstinate. I don't know what that word means, I'm going to be honest. She and Gerda sat themselves in the coach and drove away, over stumps and stones, into the depths of the forest. The little girl was about the same size as Gerda, but stronger. She had broader shoulders and a darker skin. Her eyes were quite black, and she had a mournful look. She cast little Gerda round the waist and said, "They shall not kill you, as long as you don't make us vexed with you. I suppose you are a princess?" "No," said Gerda, and then she told all her history and how fond she was of little Kay. The robber girl looked earnestly at her, nodded her head slightly, and said, "They shan't kill you, even if I do get angry with you, for I will do it myself." And then she wiped Gerda's eyes and struck her own hands in the beautiful muff, which was soft and warm. Oh, so they're not earmuffs. And they're beautiful muffs. Why does this sound familiar? Oh, I just realized it's like the like in Russia, how they have like this thing on their arms that's not connected to their shirt, but it's like a piece of fabric that you literally stick your hands into, and you walk around like a princess. Oh, okay. That took me a while to figure out, didn't it? And I'm pretty sure the girl just threatened Gerda like, "Oh, don't worry, the robbers won't kill you if they are angry. I'll do it myself." That's pretty much what she just said to this girl. The coach stopped in the courtyard of a robber's castle, the walls of which were cracked from top to bottom. Ravens and crows flew in and out of the holes and crevices, while great bulldogs, either of which looked like it could swallow a man, were jumping about, but they were not allowed to bark. I don't think they were bulldogs. If they were as big as a person, I don't think they were bulldogs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but bulldogs don't even go past your, knees, right? I'm 5 foot. And a bulldog does not go above my knees. So, why would they be as big as a man? I mean, if it... no, still, yeah. I mean... In a large and smoky hall, a bright fire was burning on the stone floor. There was no chimney, so the smoke went up to the ceiling and found a way out for itself. Soup was boiling in the large cauldron, and hares and rabbits were roasting on the spit. "You shall sleep with me and all my little animals tonight," said the robber girl, for they had something to eat and drink. After they had something to eat and drink. So she took Gerda down to the hall corner. So she took Gerda to a corner of the hall where some straw and carpets were laid down. Above them, on laths and perches, were more than 100 pigeons, who all seemed to be asleep, although they moved slightly when the two little girls came near them. "These all belong to me," said the robber girl, and she seized the nearest to her, held it by its feet, and shook it until it flapped its wings. "Kiss it!" cried she, flapping it in Gerda's face. "There sit the wood pigeons," continued she, pointing to a number of laths and a cage in which has been fixed onto the wall near one of the openings. "Both rascals will fly away directly if they were not closely locked up. And here is my old sweetheart, Ba." And she dragged out a reindeer by the horn. He wore a bright red copper ring around his neck and was tied up. We're obliged to hold him tight too, or else he would run away from us also. I tickled his neck every evening with my sharpest knife, which frightens him very much. And then the robber girl drew a long knife from a chink in the wall and let it slide gently over the reindeer's neck. The poor animal began to kick, and the little robber girl laughed and pulled Gerda down into bed with her. "Oh yeah, I see. I wonder why the animals are trying to escape her. Seems like a psycho." "Will you have that knife with you while you are asleep?" said Gerda, looking at it in great fright. "I always sleep with a knife by me," said the robber girl. "No one knows what may happen. But now tell me again all about little Kay, and why you went out and told the world." Then Gerda repeated her story over again, while the wood pigeons in the cage over her cooed, and the other pigeons slept. The little robber girl put one arm across Gerda's neck and held the arm and knife in the other, and was soon fast asleep and snoring. But Gerda could not close her eyes at all. She knew not whether she was to live or die. The robbers sat around the fire singing and drinking, and the old woman stumbled about. It was a terrible sight for a little girl to witness. Then the wood pigeon said, "Coo, coo, we have seen little Kai. A white fowl carried his sled, and he sat in the carriage of the Snow Queen, which drove through the wood while we were lying in our nest. She blew upon us, and all the young ones died, excepting us two. Coo, coo." Oh, so I guess those birds don't do really well in the frigid colds, like when it's really, really cold. That's a bit of a shame. "What are you saying up there?" said Gerda. "Where was the Snow Queen going? Do you know anything about it?" "She was most likely travelling to Lapland, where there is always snow and ice. Ask the reindeer that is fastened up there with a rope." "Yes, there is always snow and ice," said the reindeer, "and it is a glorious place. You can leap and run about freely on the sparkling ice plains. The Snow Queen has her summer tent there, but her strong castle is at the North Pole, on an island called Spitzbergen." "Oh, little Kai, sighed Gerda. "Lie still," said the robber girl, "or I shall run my knife into your body." I'm pretty sure she would have said it with her eyes open. It's like, "Lie still, or I shall run my knife into your body." The only time I got psychopathic like that was when I was heavily pregnant with Sammy. And there's no insulation between my roof and the people upstairs. And they decided I couldn't sleep all night. I had finally gotten to sleep at 6. And 3 minutes later, banging upstairs like they were like stomping like elephants. I had lost my crap. And I went upstairs and ended up threatening them. I was so sleep deprived. I hadn't slept in 2 days. Still, shouldn't have done it. In the morning, Gerda told her all that the wood pigeons had said, and the little robber girl looked quite serious and nodded her head, and said, "That is all talk. That is all talk. Do you know where Lapland is?" she asked the reindeer. "Who should know better than I do?" said the animal, while his eyes sparkled. "I was born and brought up there, and used to run about the snow-covered plains." "Now listen," said the robber girl. "All our men are gone away. Only Mother is here. And here she will stay. But at noon she always drinks out of a great bottle, and afterwards sleeps for a little while. And then I'll do something for you." She then jumped out of bed, clasped her mother around the neck, and pulled her by the beard, crying, "My own little nanny goat, good morning." Then the mother flip-tipped her nose until it was quite red, yet she did it all of love. So obviously, with how the daughter is, I'm guessing the mother loves her like a lot. Like, I don't know. The robber girl isn't timid. She's like very confident and stuff. So I'm guessing that the mum loves her, but doesn't know how to show love herself, so she does it in weird ways. When the mother had drunk out of the bottle and had gone to sleep, the little robber maiden went to the reindeer and said, "I should like very much to tickle your neck a few more times with my knife, for it makes you look so funny. But never mind. I will untie your cord and set you free, so you may run away to Lapland. But you must make good use of your legs, and carry this little maiden to the castle of the Snow Queen, where her playfellow is. You have heard what she has told me, for she has spoke loud enough, and you were listening." Then the reindeer jumped for joy, and the little robber girl lifted Gerda onto his back, and had the forethought to tie her on, and even to give her own little cushion to sit on. "Here are your fur boots for you," she said, "for it should be very cold, but I must keep them off, it is so pretty. However, you shall not be frozen for the want of it. Here are my mother's large warm mittens. They will reach up to your elbows. Let me put them on. Ah, there. Now your hands look just like my mother's." But Gerda wept for joy. "I don't like to see you fret," said the little robber girl. "You ought to look quite happy now, and there are 2 loaves and a ham, so that you need not starve." These were fastened on the reindeer, and the little robber maiden opened the door, coaxed in all the great dogs, and then cut the string from which the reindeer was fastened with her sharp knife, and said, "Now run, but mind you take good care of the little girl." And then Gerda stretched out her hand with the great mittens on it towards the little robber girl, and said, "Farewell," and away flew the reindeer, over stumps and stones, through the great forest, over marshes and plains, as quickly as he could. The wolves howled and the ravens screamed, while up in the sky quivered red lights like flames of fire. "There are my old northern lights," said the reindeer. "See how they flash?" And he ran on day and night, still faster and faster, but the loaves and the ham were all eaten by the time they had reached Lapland. Well, I'm guessing it's not as bad as I was thinking, but still cannibalism? I wasn't expecting that in the Snow Queen story. Never mentioned that in the Snow Queen.